it's the Late Boy Scout, and welcome back to another action-packed knife review. You're going to see a lot of footage of this blade in action, kind of like you just did there in the intro. This right here is the SOG Seal Strike, one of the newest in that SOG Seal series, and there have been several, as you probably know. This one is AOS 8 steel, as we've come to expect from SOG. You can see a nice sort of a fin going on here. People ask, why is that there? That's a question I can't really say for sure. I can give you some theories as to why this sort of a fin is there. It does add, geometrically, add a little bit of strength to the tip. Was that enough strength? We'll find out in this review. We've also got some very aggressive jimping right here that's really almost like a, almost like saw teeth. I mean, as you get your thumb in there, it's almost uncomfortable. It's really pushing back at you. You can see that it is partially serrated, and I believe it only comes in partially serrated. To my knowledge, they don't yet have a fully plain edge version of it. You can see this thing is all discolored from all the striking that I did, as it is designed to do as a seal strike, against this right here, the ferro rod built right into the sheath. This is the deluxe sheath version of the knife, and there are a couple versions of it. That's something we should mention very quickly. The original, I should say the lower priced version of the knife is made of the same materials, however has a powder coat rather than the tie-dye coat that this one has. Also, I believe it has sort of bright stainless steel here instead of this blackened, probably tie-dye coated stainless steel. Or maybe blued, it looks blued. And also it has a much more basic sheath. It is still a hard molded sheath like this one is, but it doesn't have this right here, the little space for a little rope cutter. So you get your little rope cutter right there, put your rope through there and pull it through, and it works really well. Then we've got a sharpener right here. That is not the type of pull-through sharpener that I like to use. I generally don't like pull-through sharpeners. They're great in a pinch. They will restore your edge to something usable in a pinch. I prefer to have something, rod-based sharpener that restores a better edge on my knife. But again, if this is a field knife that you're using and putting into emergency use, you got to have some kind of an edge on it. I don't really care what kind of an edge it is, as long as it gets the job done. And sure, I'd use that in a pinch. Again, some really cool features on that sheath. We do have a clip there on the back, as you can plainly tell, that will just slip over and fit onto your belt. It's got loads of play in there, so it'll slide up and down, it'll move side to side on your belt and be pretty comfortable, even though this is a pretty rigid sheath. You've also clearly got the capability of disconnecting that whole clip portion right there. Take those screws out, pull that out, and then just use this sheath on MOLLE. Just weave through those holes and those strap areas. You can easily attach this to some sort of a vest, a bag, whatever it might be, a pack, and have that knife there at the ready rather than down there on your waist where the clip might fail and you might fall off and lose it.
Comes out, just like that.
Talking about the performance of this knife, we did all kinds of great tests with it. We carved all kinds of wood. We chopped, although this is not a chopper remotely, at less than 6 ounces for that knife. No way, it's not designed to chop. It's not meant to do it. You can kind of do it. You could definitely do some assisted chopping, laying that knife down on your material, your wood, and then smacking the back of it with some sort of a baton. You can definitely do some assisted chopping a lot more easily than swinging that thing into a branch and trying to chop away at it. Which again, you can do, but man, it takes a long time because this just does not have any forward weight, let alone much weight at all at under 6 ounces. We talk about the blade shape on it and the blade grind. You can see that it is a type of saber grind, not really though, because it's got that big swedge there on the back with that fin as I talked about before. Then it is a hollow grind on it, as is typical on a lot of these SOG Seal knives that I've seen. So that's very common. That'll give you a really fine edge on that AOS 8 steel. which in my experience holds a surprisingly good edge throughout extended use. If you're one to complain about the part serrations on that blade, well, you're probably not alone. However, I'm not disappointed in that, and honestly, throughout the use that I put this knife through, I found those to be quite useful. Some of those back cuts where I'm carving away at something in this direction, then I pull it back this way to actually slice through something, that digs into material quite a bit faster than the plain edge does. Just those points, those teeth, I don't know, there's something to be said for those part serrations. As I understand it, this blade is full tang. We have a tang going all the way through there. It's probably not obviously coming all the way up to there or all the way down to here. Something of a rat tail, I suppose, but it reaches this pommel right here, which is quite effective for pounding sticks into the ground. It's probably going to smash rocks, break glass, things like that. The handle is a type of glass-filled nylon. You can tell that there's lots of texturing to it. So it does have a pretty good grip in hand, whether that's bare hands or gloves. I feel it works pretty well. You can tell that there are some nice finger grooves there, which are quite comfortable to use. Where does your thumb want to rest? Well, I would rather have my knife up here, depending on the type of work I'm doing, because moving it up there, which you can do, is, you've got that really aggressive jimping there. Again, if you have to stab that into something and you need to retain that knife, sure, it's good to have, but that is going to tear up your thumb, man, if you ever have to use that really hard. You can choke back on it a little bit, but then you've got this sort of back quillion that is very low back here. I almost prefer for that to be a little higher, so the ramp is up here someplace. Again, there's lots of things I could say about this knife that are not necessarily perfect, but it's quite well executed. The three different versions of the knife come at three different price points, somewhere around $65, then I think $85, and this version right here, which is the tie-dye coated in all black with the deluxe sheath, comes in at right around $100. This one is made in Taiwan. If I understand correctly, the other two are made in China.
It has what I would call a pretty delicate, pretty fine tip on it. Let's see if it'll survive some stabbing and prying. Alright, that tip has bent a little bit. It did not break. I don't know if you can tell. Feel a slight bend in that tip right now.
In pretty much all the work I did with this knife, it really impressed me. It's not designed to be a chopper, so when I tried to chop with it, obviously it didn't chop very well. But again, not designed to be a chopper. It's not designed to be a great stabber either, and that's why when I stabbed and pried with it, it didn't do spectacularly either. However, I don't consider that to be a fail so much as you get extra credit if you pass it. So, we can look at the tip and how that's somewhat bent from the stab and pry test that I did on it. That is really not bent all that much. If you look at the blade on the hole, you almost can't tell. And would I try to bend that back or grind that out or do something like that to fix it? Probably not. It's nice to know that it will bend a little bit rather than chip off. I would definitely rather have a slightly bent tip than a broken off one.
Now it's clear to me that SOG's intent was to give us a lightweight, tactical, and survival knife with the Seal Strike, and they've done that. It's got a lot of great features built right into it or built into the sheath. Some of those features, like the sharpener, I probably wouldn't use unless I absolutely had to, but even that is really nice to have if I ever needed it. I'm not partial to serrations, which this knife has. However, I found them to actually cut really, really well and dig into material a little better than that plain edge sometimes does. Ergonomics are good, it's extremely lightweight, and once again, if weight is your main concern, you can't do a whole lot better than this knife for survival and tactical. I hope this review's been helpful to you. I'm the Late Boy Scout. We'll see you later.